Today's episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Do you feel like you're stuck in a dinner rut? With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all those trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less. With over 25 recipes to choose from each week, there is something for everyone to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. Go to the link in our show notes to get $80 off, including free shipping on HelloFresh, the #1 meal kit.
You heard the rest. Now here's the best. Stay Tuned Sports Podcast.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here, with a rolling thunderstorm going on in the background. So you guys may hear some thunder and, well, you can't really see the lightning because I'm recording here, but so hopefully we can get through this show before I lose power. Hopefully we don't lose power, but, you know, it's still a little warm here, so would like to keep the power on so I could put the AC back on because it's a little warm in the room here recording. But hopefully you guys are having a good week. We had the NFL back this week, kicking off week 1. I was happy with how my team looked, even though it was the Atlanta Falcons. I know our friend over there at Max Graphics and the NSRA driver, Chris Darling, wasn't too happy, and Ben Adams wasn't too happy. I kept my trash talk with them at a minimum because I wasn't sure to what to expect with Hurts and the Eagles, but we'll talk about that game a little later on. Obviously, you're going to talk about the Notre Dame game, how just horrendous this team is, scathing by 2 unranked teams, and just terrible, But as far as the Notre Dame schedule, though, it only gets tougher, So, but before we really get into the show, because there's other topics that we're going to talk about too that I want to bring up. Head over to StayTunedSports.net. There's some thunder there, in case you guys heard it. StayTunedSports.net, so you can follow all of our social media accounts, which is right on the right-hand side there. And we have the merch tab up top there. Going to add some, with fall coming, maybe update some of the hoodies and things like that. And also visit betangles.com. I have a link there on the website as well. Get all your betting odds and all that stuff. Live scores for $10 a month. It's advice and stuff like that too. So if you don't want to buy any merch from our website, head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/STSports, and it's just another way to help show your support towards the show. And like I always say, anything that you guys donate to the show is going right back into the giveaways, which, if you guys were following our Facebook and Twitter account on Thursday, I believe I announced it, we did a little giveaway for Facebook posts and Twitter posts. And we had 2 winners. Both winners got $25 gift cards from Amazon. Not going to do it every week because, kind of does get a little expensive, but definitely going to do some more giveaways in the near future. Not going to go very long. But, so, like I said, started talking about the Notre Dame game a little bit. Just horrendous. You're playing Toledo, and there was some things in there, I just didn't understand what Coach Kelly was thinking. First, Jack Cohn played well again. Granted, he had 2 INTs. One was almost the the deal breaker. It was ran back for a touchdown. That was the first time we were actually really seen him really mess up. But other than that, he was playing decent. And why I bring this up is, I believe it was late second quarter or early third quarter, Coach Kelly pulled him out because he wanted to get, quote, a spark in his team. And they brought in the freshman quarterback, Buckner, Tyler Buckner. And yeah, Grant, okay, he did give a spark to that offense and everything. But here's the thing. Toledo wasn't playing or game planning for this kid. They were game planning for Jack Cohen. So now that you pretty much announced to the world that you're probably going to have to run a two quarterback system, they're going to start game plan for both quarterbacks. The problem is with this team on offense, and I've said it last week after the Florida State game, is this offensive line. Once again, the running game was tough going, and passing wise, I mean, granted, this game he got sacked 6 times. Jack Cohen got sacked, but the offensive line is not getting any push up front. Now, why would you pull out a player that was playing well, okay, making some good passes? Other than that, one INT was a terrible pass on him. Start benching some of these offensive linemen. I mean, you got probably 50, 60 players on that team, probably carrying 10, 15 offensive linemen. Why not see what the other kids could do? Maybe maybe you got like a diamond in the rough that you don't know about, and you're just putting this makeshift offensive line out there. Keep shifting it, because after this week, they play Purdue this weekend. After this weekend, you got 3 straight ranked teams. I believe it's Wisconsin after Purdue, and then there's Virginia's in there, and UCF, or I forget who the other team is, but they're all top 15 teams. And you drop down to 12th. I mean, you're supposed to be a playoff team, and that's the other thing about Jack Cohen. I actually feel bad for him. You transfer this team probably hoping to play on a team that's a playoff caliber team, and this is how the team is playing. And he's a senior, so this is it for him. This is his last chance to try to win a championship with a team. Defensively, still giving up big plays. And we're not wrapping up. It's kind of like, the past year or two, I would say, we kind of clamped down on the missed tackles. But we're back to trying to do shoelace tackles and everything instead of just wrapping them up. Defensive line's getting back there. Just not wrapping them up. Have to wrap them up, get these sacks, put the pressure on their offense to do something, because we have a quarterback. It's got to get that running game going. If we could get that running game going, that is going to open up so much more of this offense. Our tight end, you could see the chemistry between Jack Cohen and our tight end, Mayer, especially at the end of the game here. Another reason why I just falling in love with Jack Cohen is pretty much the last drive of the fourth quarter there. I think they were at the 40-yard line or 50. It was pretty close to midfield, and connected on a pass, I believe to Mayer, and it took a timeout or it was going to a commercial break or something. And when it came back here, when Cohen passed, he hit off Toledo's helmet, dislocating his finger. Most of the time, that player's done. He ran over to the trainer popped it back in, comes in, scores the game-winning touchdown. And probably that, just the gutsiest play. I mean, you could see, they showed it too, which I was kind of funny watching. Usually they cut away from it or something. But, it wasn't easy, and it wasn't, definitely was hurting. So he definitely has shown that he's tough. And in 2 games, 1 bad play. Think he should be a starter. I don't think we should do this whole 2 quarterback system. We tried it with Ian Book and Golston. Didn't work. Once we went to Ian Book, our offense was good. We had one of our better running attacks, and that's the thing with this offensive line too, is we've produced a lot of offensive linemen the past few seasons, and if you want to be known as O-line University, you need to get your shit together. They need, and I'm hoping that by being dropped down to 12th, opens their eyes, because after this week, if they end up in overtime or only win by 5 points, they're going to have a rude awakening going up against Wisconsin. I expect, if we only win by 5 points, I expect Wisconsin to just trounce us by 20. That's going to be my prediction right now. But hopefully Notre Dame comes out this week swinging and just punches Purdue right in the mouth and gets that running game going. How they have scripted plays and everything like that. I would go first 7 plays, no matter what they get, run it. Get that offensive line going. Get some confidence in that offensive line early. So that way, late in the game, you could run it down and just tire out Purdue. So like I said, also at the top of the show, Philadelphia Eagles, NFL Week 1, play the Atlanta Falcons. And I will be completely honest, I did not see this happening. 32-6. The first couple drives with the Falcons, our defense wasn't really able to stop them too much until they got inside the 20 or 30 yard line to, going in for a touchdown. And after that, it was just all downhill for Atlanta. But Jalen Hurts looked really good. I'll give him credit. Now, granted, I'm going with my saying here. It's only 1 game, so let's pump the brakes on calling him franchise quarterback, give him a $100 million quarterback contract or whatever. But he looked really good. The running game was there. Defensively, I think we still got to clean up some things, even though we only gave up 6 points. Defensively, mostly the cornerbacks gotta get a little better. We didn't give up no big plays, which is huge. But we definitely have to give that line a little bit more time to get in the backfield. We only had 3 sacks this game, which, if you watched the Falcons left tackle, I really thought there was more sacks than that. He just looked like a fish out of water. And I don't put the blame on him. I put the blame on Falcons head coach. You see he's getting blown up. You see he's getting pushed back into the quarterback, back into the running backs. Why are you not giving him any help? Especially against Hargrave, who had a really good preseason. So, you had the film on the Eagles, whether it be preseason or not. You seen Hargrave was blown up the middle there. Gotta give him help. It was also good to see the balanced offense. There was 35 passes compared to 31 rushes, which maybe 4 or 5 of those rushes may have been just scrambles that were pass plays. But Miles Sanders had a good game, 76 yards. Which all I want to see out of him this year is to stay healthy and a 1,000-yard rushing season. I don't think we had one of those since probably Shady McCoy. 2017, we had, maybe Ajayi when he was on the team. Maybe he had 1,000 yards. Can't really remember, but we really haven't had like a 3-down running back in years. So we've always been pretty much a running back by committee, and it showed this game too. The rookie running back Gainwell had a good game. I was very impressed with Devontae Smith, which, little funny thing, I don't know if you guys seen about this, his first career touchdown in the NFL was this exact same spot where he caught the game-winning touchdown in the National Conference or National Championship game. It's like, I wonder if they had that all planned out or something like that. But even him, he had 60 or 70 yards receiving. Not bad for a first game rookie, 6 catches. Jalen Reagor played really well. And the one story that I want to take out of this game too is Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. Both guys are pretty much playing out their contract. They're on the last years of their contract with the Eagles. In the beginning of the offseason, we were supposedly going to give Goddard an extension and trade Zach Ertz away. But then something happened where Zach Ertz said, I mend the fences, and then all of a sudden Dallas Goedert was possibly going to get traded and the extension was off the table. So obviously both these guys are going to be playing their hardest to either A, get the best contract they can with the Eagles, or get the best contract in free agency. And that's only going to make that position that much better for the Eagles. Unfortunately, with Zach Ertz, he missed pretty much the whole second half of the game. And I'm curious to see how he responds this week against San Fran. Because if he starts getting hurt, does that mean he's finally hitting his end of his prime? Is he going to start showing signs of oldness? So if you had to ask me who I would rather sign to an extension right now, I like Ertz. I always have. I liked it when we drafted him, and to this day I still like him. It's nothing, not a knock on him or anything like that. But he is older. I would rather sign Goddard. Probably could sign him to a cheaper contract extension compared to what probably Ertz is going to want or ask for. And probably get the same production out of Goddard that you would with Ertz. Because again, you got to remember, we're not signing... Teams don't sign players for what they did in the past. They're signing them for what they think they'll do in the future. That's why you always see these players come out and say that I'm underpaid because, my stats are at the top of the line there. I'm getting paid like a bottom line tight end. Well, I think Goddard would be showing that he's, going to have more production over the next couple of years compared to Ertz. So that's why I would sign Goddard to an extension compared to Zach Ertz. But we have San Fran this week. San Fran is like the new Philadelphia Eagles, injury plagued. They lost their starting run back this past week. Last year, I think it was last year, they lost Bosa to the ACL. So this game I thought would have been a lot more competitive going into it, but this is starting to slowly feel more like I hate to say, another Atlanta Falcons game. And I'm not saying that we're going to win 32-6. I think there's going to be more of a fight in this game with the Niners than there was with the Falcons. But I could see us pulling out the win here, which is funny because going into the season, I thought, Falcons I thought we could beat in a close game. I thought the Niners could beat us. And then I think we have the Chiefs next week or week 4. So like in 4 weeks, I thought we would be 1-3. We have the potential to be at least 2 wins right off the bat. Oh, and by the way, screw Chris Sims. He doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to quarterbacks anyways. Putting Jalen Hurts below a backup quarterback in his rankings. Hopefully Jalen Hurts could shut him up and Chris Sims could lose his job and shut up. So there was a little bit of controversy in the NFL this past week between the Chiefs and the Browns. Now, I wanted to touch on this a little bit. So there was a play early on in the game. The Chiefs were running the ball, ran out of bounds, and Ronnie Harrison was coming in for a tackle. Chiefs running back was on the ground, and Ronnie Harrison, when he was getting up or trying to get away from the running back, stepped on the player, which the running backs coach of Kansas City, Greg Lewis, came over, pushed Ronnie Harrison, away from his player. Ronnie Harrison retaliated and pushed Greg Lewis's head and kind of knocking off his headset and all that stuff. Ronnie Harrison gets the penalty put on and gets ejected from the game. Greg Lewis did not. Now there's some of Ronnie Harrison's teammates and even the head coach coming to his defense. They all agree that in a situation like that, Ronnie Harrison's got to show a little bit more composure, which we know we very rarely see that with these players. Their adrenaline's pumping. And if you really watch that video, Greg Lewis came running over and pushed Ronnie Harrison away because it seemed like Harrison was stepping on purpose. If you watch that video, it wasn't. It wasn't purpose. He wasn't stepping on purposely. If anything, he kind of more lost his balance a little bit and trying to regain his balance by putting his foot down. Just happened that hit the running back was right there. I wish that if a player gets ejected from a game for pushing a player or punching a player or a coach or whatnot, and I don't think they do this, but I wish they would go back. Okay, so and so is ejected. Go back and review that play, because I'm sick and tired of seeing the whole. Second man always gets caught. And again, I understand. These players are supposed to show a little bit more composure when these things are going on, but dude, their adrenaline's pumping so hard. They got enough stuff to worry about instead of a coach. For all we know, the coach purposely did this to try to get Ronnie Harrison ejected, who's one of the Browns' better defensive players. And Greg Lewis gets to stay on the sideline and coaches his team. I just wish that the NFL could change a rule or put a rule in there that if any player or coach is ejected for punching or pushing, that the play gets automatically reviewed to see why they did that. Was their reaction warranted? Maybe the first person that pushed the player. Okay, the second guy punches him. All right. Second guy should have had a lot more composure. It was just a push. But if that first person punched the other guy, well then, yeah, come on. The second guy's going to just defend himself. So I definitely think not only Ronnie Harrison should have been ejected. I mean, that was the right call. But the coach should have been ejected from the game too. And the NFL came out and said that Harrison won't be suspended. But if they want to make this right, you don't fine him either. Otherwise, if you do fine him, you fine the Kansas City coach and you suspend him for one game for getting involved. You cannot have that happen. Especially with coaches. They're supposed to be the most composed people on that field compared to these players. I'm just sick and tired of seeing, like I said, the second player always gets the penalty. That's just so stupid. So before we do our combat corner, because we got UFC fights this week, which look decent, not the best, but not the worst. We are going to do our blue picks.
4th and 5. Jones steps up, takes off, he's in! Touchdown!
3rd down and 3. Jackson has all day, looking deep for Hollywood Brown again. He's got it! Brown off to the races, and he stays on his feet. Touchdown!
And here is your Blue Picks of the Week, brought to you by Skunk Duck Studios, the best ducking designs on the web. That's right. So last week for our Week 1 Blue Picks was looking good. It was looking to be 2-1 possibly on my picks, but Minnesota decided to lose it in overtime against the Bengals. Just to kind of recap my picks from last week, the blowout picks, I had Packers over the Saints. Obviously, we know Aaron Rodgers threw that game, so he can make the Packers look bad. My lock was, like I just said, Minnesota over Cincinnati. Cincinnati won in overtime. But for my upset pick, which DraftKings owes me a lot of money, I took the Steelers over the Bills. Steelers won. I tried so many times to put a bet in for the Steelers to win the game, and DraftKings website kept going down or something like that. So I couldn't put the bet in there to win that one. So to kick off the season, I'm 1-2 on my picks. Hopefully this week is a little bit better. For my blowout pick for week 2, I have the Broncos over the Jaguars. I watched that Giants-Broncos game. Teddy Bridgewater looked good. The Jerry Jeudy injury is going to definitely hurt him, but it's the Jaguars. Come on now. You know, Trevor Lawrence didn't look any good. Plus, the Broncos' defense was dominant against the Giants, and even though the Giants are bad, I think they're still better than the Jaguars. So I got the Broncos, who are giving 6. I think they're going to cover that easily. For my lock pick, I have the Cardinals over the Vikings. Arizona is giving 4.5 points as of right now. Listen, Chandler Jones, he played lights out last week. I believe he had a career high in sacks. Kyler Murray played outstanding. Multiple touchdowns. Vikings, who went to overtime with the Bengals. The Bengals lost. And obviously, the Cardinals are a lot better team that have a lot more weapons than the Bengals do. So, again, I think that's a lock. I think that's the most sure pick to do. As of this point of the season, probably the most sure pick of the season. For my upset pick, I got the Raiders over the Steelers. Pittsburgh's giving 5.5 points this game. Raiders had a better offense, I believe, between the two. Even though the first half of that Raiders game, Derek Carr wasn't the greatest, came out strong in the second half. I think they really played 4 quarters this game. And, I mean, the defenses are about equal, so that's why I got the Raiders beating the Steelers probably by 3 points. You know, I think it's gonna be a close game. It should be a good game, and hopefully it'll shut up all the Steelers fans saying, "Oh, see, we are actually good. We are, you know, what we were last year, 11-0. No, you didn't play nobody last year when you were 11-0. Now you got to play some good teams because you played so well last year, or had a better record than you should have." So that's my picks for the Blue Picks this week. Broncos over the Jaguars for the blowout. Cardinals over Vikings as my lock. Raiders over Steelers for my upset. And up next, we have our Combat Corner segment, sponsored by BetAngles. Live scores, odds, and the best expert picks every day. Start winning today at betangles.com. So like I said, we have UFC Fight Night. Just going right into the picks because it's getting late here now. Main event, light heavyweight bout between Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spahn. Another light heavyweight fight between Ion Kudalaba versus Devin Clark. Women's flyweight, Ariana Lipski versus Mandy Baum. Lightweight fight between Armin Sarokanian versus Christos Giagas. Middleweight fight between Joaquin Buckley versus Antonio Arroyo. And then kicking off the main card is Nate Maness versus Tony Gravel. Going with Tony Gravel here. He's 2-1 in UFC since coming over from Dana White's Contender Series. Has 9 knockouts, 3 subs. I think he's going to knock out Maness here. The middleweight fight between Jaquan Buckley versus Arroyo. I got Buckley, who's 2-2 in UFC right now. Lost his last fight, but he has finishing power with both of his wins as knockouts, and I think that's what's going to happen here. You're going to see a spectacular knockout. Lightweight fight, Arman Sarukayan versus Christos Giagas. I got Arman winning. He's 3-1 UFC and won his last 3. I think he's looking for a uptick in better competition or a stiffer competition, so I think that's why he's going to win this one to help keep moving up those rankings. Women's flyweight, Ariane Lipski versus Mandy Baum. Lipski's 2-3 in her last 5 fights. Baum is actually making her UFC debut, but won her last fight in Bellator. I know the big talk is UFC is far superior than Bellator's talent, but there's some parts of UFC that's not as good and Bellator is good at. I think the women's flyweight is about equal, so I think Mandy Baum is going to pull this off and win that fight. Co-main event is Ion Kudalaba versus Devin Clark. Going with Clark here just because Ion is 3-1-1 in his last 5. Clark is 3-2. As long as he stays off the ground, I think he pulls this out. Then for the main event, Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spahn. Listen, I like Anthony Smith. He's tough. He just doesn't know when to say enough's enough. But like I said, past couple fights, even though he won his last 2 fights against lesser competition, I think he's past his prime. I think he's past the time, like his time to get that belt. So I'm going with Spahn here, who's actually 4-1 in his last 5 fights here. Spahn as my last pick for the UFC Fight Night. I may be on the Twitter. Definitely be doing some Twitter for Notre Dame. So make sure you guys head over to staytunesports.net so that way you can click the Twitter link there, follow us, and you could chime in with some of my comments about Notre Dame or Fight Nights or Bare Knuckle. Make sure you head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/stsports in case you want to, show your support on the website. Buy me a beer. And like I said, anything that you guys donate goes right back into the giveaways. The more I get, bigger the giveaways. So you always want to make sure to follow our social medias, because that's where I'll announce the giveaways. Not sure if I'll ever announce them on the show. Might just be a spur of the moment thing. So make sure you guys do all that. And if you have any arguments or questions you want me to answer, we still have the chat line, 612-STS-CHAT. Can't get that much easier than that. Surprised no one called me out about my Josh Allen prediction. So, till next week, this is your good friend Jimbo, signing out.